The G run is the most important part about playing bluegrass guitar. In this lesson, I'm going to show y'all some really clear examples of how to play the standard bluegrass G run. We'll look at a few different variations of the bluegrass G run with tablature on the screen, and then we're also going to practice using the G run with some bluegrass rhythm guitar, some bluegrass strumming. Then at the end of the lesson, we're going to work through a chord progression that you'll hear all the time at bluegrass jams. We're going to take a couple of G runs and then add them to this chord progression to give it that nice bluegrass sound that we're all going for. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to look at the most common bluegrass G run first. So here is the most common bluegrass G run that you'll hear people playing. Let me play through it a few times so you can hear it. So as you're working through the tablature, keep in mind that we have the pick stroke direction symbols above the tablature. The symbol that looks like a staple, that is a down pick. The symbol that looks like a letter V, that will be an up pick. And also, on some of the tablature that we have here today, right at the very bottom of it, we'll have some numbers written in, like you see here on the screen. Those numbers represent the fretting hand finger number that you'll use to play the particular note. So for example, this tablature on the screen, the very first note of the G run is that note right there, the 3rd fret, 6th string. And right below that note, you see we've got a 2 written in. The 2 means that we're going to use our 2nd finger to play that note. So our middle finger. And then the next note is the open string, and then the next note after that, we've got a slide. Right at the very bottom, you see we've got 1 written in. That means we're using our first finger, or our pointer finger, to do that slide. And the reason we're starting this lick out with our middle finger is because usually when you're playing this type of G run, you're playing it either before or after playing the G major open chord, you know. And the most common fingering for playing the G major open chord in bluegrass is this one right here. You know, you got your middle finger right there on the 3rd fret, the 6th string, and then that finger lays a little flat and it actually mutes the 5th string, you know, about right there. So you fret that note and then naturally muting that 5th string, and then you just got your ring finger right there, 3rd fret, 2nd string, and then pinky right behind it, 3rd fret, 1st string. So that's the main bluegrass G major open chord. So, you know, you got that chord going, and then the G run, very first note of it, you already got that G chord held down, and that middle finger is there ready to go. Makes it real easy. So here in 1 second, I'm going to teach you a few more variations of the G run. But right now, real quick, let's practice the G run that we just learned with some bluegrass rhythm guitar. So here's a quick example. On the screen, we've got 4 measures the first two measures will play bluegrass rhythm. And then the third and the fourth measures will play the Bluegrass G Run that we just learned. And then in the fourth measure, after we play the G Run, we'll continue on with the bluegrass strumming. Let's break down this strumming pattern real quick. If you look at the very first measure, the strumming pattern over the G major chord, we go like this. Pick, down, pick, up, down, up. Pick, down, pick, up, down, up. Let's repeat it a few times for practice. Pick, down, pick, up, down, up. Pick, down, pick, up, down, up. Keep those strums nice and smooth. So that's the main strumming pattern we're going to use for practice. So that's first measure. In the second measure, we're going to play that same strumming pattern basically, but we've got a little hammer-on at the very beginning, a little accent hammer-on. That little hammer-on, all you got to do, you got the G chord, do the hammer-on, just lift up your middle and put your pointer down on the second fret right there, and just pick and then hammer into the G chord. Pick, hammer, strum. That's the second measure. So that's the first two measures right there, bluegrass rhythm. And then we got the G run. Pick, strum, pick, up, down, up. So right after that G run, we're going to play that same type of rhythm. The difference is the very first pick is going to be on the open string this time, there in that fourth measure, at the very first note. It's that open G string, and that's the end of the G run, So that's basically all there is to it right there. The G run is used all the time in bluegrass, just like this right here on the screen. So let's play this line, the example one more time, and then we'll move on. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're going to look at a little bit shorter version of the bluegrass G run. And this one is also really common, used all the time in bluegrass. So let's check this out here. On the screen, we've got a similar type of example where we play two measures of the bluegrass rhythm. But then the third measure on the screen, we're going to play this shorter G run. It sounds like this. So it's not too bad. Basically going to hold down this G chord with your fretting hand the entire time. So if we look at the third measure, we're going to start it out with pick, strum, strum. And then from there, you just lift up your middle and then do this little pick, pick, pull off. And the rest of the G chord is still held down, your ring and pinky. Still keep those held down. pick, strum, strum, pick, pick, pull off. And the pull off is with the pointer. That's just the third and the fourth measures on the screen. Let me play it a couple more times. Pause the video if you want to work on this a little bit. Next, let's learn one more variation, the shorter Bluegrass G Run. And this is almost like what we just learned, but slightly different. See if you can tell the difference. I'm going to play the third and the fourth measures that you see on the screen. Looking at that third measure, starts out the same with the pick, strum, strum. But then we've got the pick, pick, pull off. The difference is, instead of doing the pick, pick on the same note, this time we're going to do pick on the fourth string, up pick on the third string, and then that same pull off. Really like this one a lot. So up to this point, we've got the standard Bluegrass G Run. We've got a shorter version of it. So now what we're going to do is combine both of those. We're going to play four measures. Yeah, let's check it out here with the tablature on the screen. We've got four measures here. The very first two measures, we're going to play the standard Bluegrass G Run. And then we'll do a little rhythm. And then the third and the fourth measures, we'll do the shorter version of the G Run. Let's play this entire line all together, all four measures. And you'll hear people doing this a lot when you're at a bluegrass jam, playing the longer G Run and then following it with a little shorter one. It's a little accent. So here we go, all four measures. So here in 1 minute, we're going to work through the chord progression to the song, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? And we'll take some of these G runs and add them to that progression and give it that nice bluegrass sound. But right now, real quick, I'm going to show you a few more G runs in the style of some of the famous bluegrass artists. So let's check out this next variation of the G Run. And this one's in the style of Del McCoury. Played his G Run a lot like this. Starts out the exact same way we've been playing the G Run. Middle, open, slide up with the pointer. But then we're going to land with our ring finger on the 3rd fret, 4th string. just like that. And you can practice all these variations of the G run, that same example that we've been using, just like this right here, playing the bluegrass rhythm and then the G run. So let's play through this line on the screen. All right, pause the video if you want to work on this one. Next, we're going to look at another McCoury Style G Run. Sounds like this. You can hear we're doing this real quick hammer-on. It's a little grace note. The grace note is that first fret, 5th string. It's that tiny little 1 that you see written in the tablature. And we're doing a hammer-on from our pointer to our middle finger there. So 1st fret to 2nd fret. Real nice one here. It's got a nice traditional sound. All right, when you're ready, let's learn the next variation of the G run. This one is in the style of Tony Rice. Sounds like this. It's all 8th notes this time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that 2nd note of the G run, you could use your middle finger on that if you want to, your fretting hand, and then slide with the pointer, or you could just use pointer finger the whole time if you want to. Up to you. That's pretty cool in there. When you're ready, we're going to learn one more G run here. This one is in the style of Norman Blake. Sounds like this. Norman Blake tended to pick all the notes, depending on what song he was playing. He did a lot of just picking, similar to Doc Watson, not as many hammer-ons and pull-offs. So. All right, moving on, we got a couple more here. These next G runs are in the style of Doc Watson. So let's learn first Doc Watson style G run right here. You're going to pick every single one of those notes. There's no hammer-ons or pull-offs. It's pretty straightforward. One thing you could do to make this Doc Watson Style G Run sound a little bit fancier is add one extra note near the end of it. So before we were playing this, now let's add one extra note right here. Just like that. That note, that up pick on the open fourth string. So finally, let's learn one last Doc Watson Style G Run, and then we'll work through this Will the Circle Be Unbroken chord progression. So here's the last Doc Watson Style G Run. And this is very similar to the one that we just learned, but slightly different at the very beginning of it. Starting this one out with the open low E string, which is kind of unusual. So hopefully that gave you all some ideas on how to play the G Run and different variations of it. Now let's work through an entire chord progression. This is the chord progression for Will the Circle Be Unbroken. It's one of those common songs that you'll hear at bluegrass jams all the time. So let's add the G Run to this progression. We're actually going to add a couple of G Runs to this. Here's the chord progression on the screen, and we're going to add a G Run to this where I've got the chord highlighted in red. So basically two measures kind of where we're going to add a G Run. Let's play through this with a basic boom chick strumming this time. Boom chick, boom chick. Pick, strum, pick, strum. And we'll use alternating bass notes for the strumming, you know, alternating that bass line. So I'm going to play through this one time right now, and then we'll play through this exact same chord progression another time, and we'll have tablature on the screen the second time through so you can see what notes I'm picking for those bass line notes. But anyways, let's play through this, and I'm going to add the G Runs to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 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 C, C. Here's the G Run. G, 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 E minor, G, D. Here comes G Run. All right, one more time. This time through, we're going to play it with tablature, and I'm not going to say anything. You can really hear me play it and then study the exact notes that I'm picking and strumming. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you like these G runs, you probably like my Bluegrass lick library that I put together. You can find the Bluegrass lick library here at countryguitaronline.com. We'll have a link in the description below this video if you're watching this on YouTube. But if you're already here on the website, you can find the lick library at the top menu under Lessons, Bluegrass Lick Library. Got a bunch of licks in a bunch of different keys, and they're a lot more complicated than these G runs, but really fun stuff to work on if you like this style of music. So thanks for watching this video, and if you have any questions on this, drop them in the comment box below this video. Otherwise, see y'all at the next lesson here at countryguitaronline.com.